The year was 2015. The internet was a playground, and for one teenager, it was about to become a platform for something bigger than anyone could have imagined. He went by the alias XOR, a moniker whispered in online forums with equal parts fear and admiration. XOR possessed an almost preternatural ability to crack codes, exploit vulnerabilities, and move like a phantom in the digital world. What started as harmless pranks quickly evolved into something more serious. XOR discovered he could manipulate network traffic, slip past firewalls, and gain unauthorized access to systems most considered impenetrable. He was a digital Houdini, leaving no trace of his presence, just a trail of bewildered security experts. He was about to stumble upon a challenge that would catapult him from the shadows of the internet to the front pages of newspapers worldwide. The CIA, shrouded in secrecy and mystique, had always been the ultimate target in the minds of hackers like XOR. A digital fortress, its defenses were legendary, its secrets closely guarded. Word began to circulate in the darkest corners of the web, whispers of a vulnerability, a chink in the armor of the seemingly invincible agency. The rumors were vague, almost unbelievable. But for XOR, they were a siren song, a challenge he couldn't ignore. He knew the risks were astronomical. The CIA didn't take kindly to intrusions. Getting caught wouldn't just mean a slap on the wrist. It meant disappearing into the legal system, his future shattered. But the allure of the impossible, the chance to do what no one else dared, was too strong to resist. Could a teenager, armed with nothing but a laptop and his wits, truly pull off the unthinkable and embarrass the world's most powerful intelligence agency? The target wasn't nuclear launch codes or top-secret agent identities, it was something far more valuable. The CIA's own internal communication network. A treasure trove of memos, emails, and operational plans, the lifeblood of any intelligence agency. The potential fallout of such a breach was enormous. For XOR, the goal was simple: to gain access to the network, download as much data as possible, and escape without a trace. He wasn't motivated by ideology or political agendas. He was a hacker, pure and simple, driven by the thrill of the challenge and the pursuit of knowledge. Little did he know his actions were about to send shockwaves through the intelligence community, spark a global manhunt, and ignite a debate about cybersecurity, privacy, and the blurred lines between teenage curiosity and international espionage. XOR knew he couldn't pull this off alone. Even for someone of his abilities, infiltrating the CIA's network was a monumental task. He needed a team, a crew of digital specialists, each a master of their craft. He found Spectre, a phantom network engineer, capable of crafting custom tools and bypassing even the most sophisticated security protocols. Then there was Whisper, a social engineering prodigy, skilled in manipulating people and extracting information. Finally, there was Kronos, a master of time and deception. Their specialty manipulating timestamps, erasing logs, and covering the team's digital tracks. With Kronos on their side, it would be like they were never even there. The team operated in complete secrecy, communicating through encrypted channels, their real-world identities unknown to each other. Trust was paramount, built not on personal connections but on shared ambition and mutual respect for each other's abilities. Weeks turned into months, as they meticulously planned each stage of the operation. They studied the CIA's network architecture, analyzing security protocols, identifying potential weak points, and formulating contingency plans. They knew that speed and precision would be crucial. The longer they lingered inside the network, the greater the risk of detection. Their plan resembled a carefully choreographed dance, each member aware of their role, their movements synchronized. At the heart of their plan lay the Zero Day, a critical vulnerability, a flaw in software unknown to the vendor, a digital skeleton key. They scoured the darkest corners of the internet, frequented underground forums, and cultivated contacts within the cybersecurity community. Time was of the essence. Every day that passed, the risk grew that the vulnerability they sought would be discovered and patched. The pressure was immense, but the team remained focused, driven by the thrill of the challenge. They knew that finding the Zero Day was only the first step. Exploiting it, remaining undetected, and escaping with the data would require every ounce of their skill and ingenuity. The clock was ticking. The world remained oblivious to the digital drama unfolding in the shadows. Soon, the actions of a few teenagers huddled over their computers would reverberate across the globe. The tension was palpable in the online chat room, the silence broken only by the rhythmic clatter of keyboards. After months of meticulous planning, the moment of truth had arrived. Tonight was the night they would attempt to breach the digital walls of the CIA. XOR, the de facto leader, initiated the sequence, deploying the custom-built tools Spectre had crafted, exploiting the zero-day vulnerability. The first layer of the CIA's defenses flickered momentarily, confused by the seemingly innocuous commands XOR was feeding it. Minutes felt like hours as they waited, their eyes glued to their screens, monitoring the stream of data flowing past. Then, a single line of green text flashed across XOR's screen, confirming their success. They were in. Breaching the perimeter was just the first hurdle. Now they faced the daunting task of navigating the labyrinthine network of the CIA. Whisper, the master of social engineering, took point, using stolen credentials and cleverly crafted phishing emails to gain access to privileged accounts. Meanwhile, Kronos worked their magic, manipulating timestamps, erasing log files, and covering their tracks with surgical precision. Their every move was a calculated risk, a delicate balance between speed and stealth. The pressure was immense. The weight of what they were doing, the potential consequences of failure, hung heavy in the air. They were driven by a thirst for knowledge, a desire to prove that even the most seemingly impenetrable systems were vulnerable. Deep within the bowels of the CIA's network, they found what they were looking for, a server farm, a digital treasure trove containing terabytes of classified information. XOR, his heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and trepidation, initiated the data extraction protocol. Gigabytes of data began flowing through their secure connection, like water pouring through a broken dam. They were careful to avoid downloading anything too sensitive, anything that could compromise national security or put lives at risk. Their goal was not to cripple the CIA or expose state secrets, but to prove a point, to expose the inherent vulnerabilities in a system that believed itself to be infallible. Time was running out. The longer they remained inside the CIA's network, the greater the risk of detection. Now it was time for the most crucial part of their plan, disappearing without a trace. With the data secured, XOR initiated the final phase of their operation, the exit strategy. They had prepared for this moment meticulously, rehearsing each step, anticipating every possible contingency. Their escape route was a digital labyrinth of its own, designed to confuse and mislead any pursuers. They bounced their connection through a series of proxy servers scattered across the globe, masking their true location. Kronos, the digital ghost, worked feverishly, erasing their every digital footprint, deleting log files, altering timestamps, and covering their tracks. They left behind no trace of their presence, no digital fingerprints, no telltale signs of their intrusion. As the sun began to rise, XOR, Spectre, Whisper, and Kronos logged out of their respective systems, their work complete. They had accomplished the unthinkable. They had infiltrated the CIA's network, downloaded classified information, and vanished without a trace. The morning after the heist, the world continued to spin, oblivious to the digital earthquake that had just occurred. At Langley, Virginia, the heart of the CIA, employees went about their daily routines, unaware that their digital kingdom had been breached. The silence, however, was deceptive. Deep within the bowels of the agency's network, hidden from the untrained eye, lay the remnants of the previous night's intrusion. The hackers had been meticulous, but even the most skilled digital phantom leaves behind faint traces, whispers in the code. For now, those whispers went unheard, drowned out by the hum of servers and the constant flow of information. It was only a matter of time before those alerts caught the attention of the right person, someone who could connect the dots. The first sign of trouble appeared on the screen of a junior security analyst, a recent recruit tasked with monitoring network activity for unusual patterns. He noticed a series of failed login attempts, originating from unusual IP addresses, targeting high-value accounts. At first glance, it seemed routine. par for the course in the constant cat-and-mouse game between security professionals and those who sought to breach their defenses. But something about these attempts felt different, a nagging feeling in the back of his mind. He dug deeper, reviewing log files, tracing network traffic, trying to understand the intent behind these failed attempts. The more he dug, the more uneasy he felt. The timing of the attempts, the specific accounts targeted, the techniques used, all pointed towards a level of sophistication he had rarely encountered before. He decided to escalate the issue, forwarding his findings to his supervisor, a seasoned veteran with years of experience battling cyber threats. The supervisor, his instincts screaming at him, immediately escalated the issue further up the chain of command, triggering a flurry of activity within the CIA's cybersecurity division. Teams were assembled, meetings were convened, and the once quiet hallways of Langley echoed with a sense of urgency and disbelief. The initial reaction was a mixture of panic and denial. The very notion that their network, a fortress of digital security, could be breached seemed inconceivable. As more data was analyzed, the horrifying truth began to dawn on them. This wasn't just a minor intrusion. This was a full-blown breach, a catastrophic compromise of their systems, the likes of which they had never experienced before. The implications were enormous, potentially jeopardizing ongoing operations, compromising the identities of undercover agents, and shaking the very foundations of the agency's credibility. The CIA, its pride wounded, its defenses shattered, went into full-blown crisis mode. A task force composed of the agency's most skilled cybersecurity experts, forensic analysts, and counterintelligence agents was assembled with a single objective: find the perpetrators and bring them to justice. The mole hunt had begun. Every server, every log file, every line of code was scrutinized for clues. They were determined to uncover the identity of the hackers, to understand their motives, and to assess the full extent of the damage. The investigation quickly expanded beyond the digital realm, spilling over into the physical world. The FBI was brought in, along with other intelligence agencies. Their combined resources focused on tracking down the perpetrators who had dared to penetrate the inner sanctum of American intelligence. The world, however, remained blissfully unaware, none the wiser to the digital drama unfolding behind closed doors. The hackers, believing themselves to be home free, their victory complete, had no idea that the net was closing in, that their every move was being tracked, their every digital footprint analyzed. The game, it seemed, was far from over. The digital fingerprints left behind were faint, ghostly whispers in the code, but enough for the CIA task force to get a sense of the skill level they were dealing with. These were seasoned digital operatives, their every move deliberate, their understanding of network security and countermeasures impressive, almost unnerving. Word of the CIA breach spread through the intelligence community like wildfire, quickly becoming a top priority. The FBI's cybercrime division joined the investigation, piecing together the digital trail, following the echoes in the code. They tracked down proxy servers, analyzed malware signatures, and scrutinized every line of code, searching for that one clue. Unbeknownst to XOR and his team, their digital playground was transforming into a hunting ground. The game, it seemed, was far from over. The first sign that something was amiss came in the form of an encrypted message, appearing on XOR's screen like a phantom. It was from Spectre, the team's resident network engineer, and its contents sent a chill down XOR's spine. "We're being watched. They're on to us." Panic began to set in. The thrill of the heist quickly evaporated, replaced by a chilling realization of the danger they were in. They had awakened a sleeping giant, now angry and determined to crush them. A digital game of cat and mouse ensued. XOR and his team tried to stay one step ahead, using every trick to cover their tracks. They bounced their communications through proxy servers and used anonymizing software. But the authorities were relentless, their digital dragnet tightening. The world was watching, waiting to see who would blink first. The pressure was immense. Sleep became a luxury they could ill afford. The digital world had morphed into a battlefield. Authorities began to unravel their defenses. The net was closing in. The game was almost over. The arrests were swift and surgical. FBI agents stormed their homes, seizing evidence. The digital world watched in stunned silence. Their faces plastered across newspapers and screens, no longer anonymous, their lives forever changed. Facing charges from hacking to espionage, the price of their curiosity was steep. The heist sent shockwaves throughout the world, shaking the intelligence community to its core. It ignited a fierce debate about cybersecurity, privacy, and security. Governments and corporations scrambled to bolster their defenses. The world had been given a wake-up call. No system, no matter how secure, was truly impenetrable. Teenagers with laptops could bring powerful institutions to their knees. It raised questions about education, parenting, and ethics. The story of XOR, Spectre, Whisper, and Kronos served as a cautionary tale. With great power comes great responsibility. Even brilliant minds can be led astray by curiosity and ambition. Their legacy is a reminder of the ever-evolving threat landscape. Constant vigilance is needed in a world defined by ones and zeros.